Imagine stepping into a time machine. The dial is set, the levers are pulled, and your destination is not the future, but a past so distant it feels like myth. The year is 2063 BC, 4,000 years ago. What was the world like? Let's find out. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're embarking on an incredible journey to a time when civilizations were rising and falling, when gods were thought to walk among mortals, and when humanity was laying the very foundations of the world we know today. Forget flying cars and think bronze shields. This is 2063 BC. Let's start our journey in Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. By 2063 BC, the glorious third dynasty of Ur, a powerful Sumerian empire, was in its final dramatic chapter. The king on the throne was likely Ibisin. Imagine a bustling city like Ur, with its magnificent ziggurat reaching towards the heavens, a testament to both their architectural genius and deep religious devotion. Life, for the average person, revolved around agriculture, dictated by the rhythm of the rivers. Farmers would be out in the barley fields, while scribes in the city meticulously recorded transactions on clay tablets using cuneiform, the world's first writing system. These weren't just lists of grain. They were poems, laws, and letters, giving us a window into their souls. But trouble was brewing. Nomadic groups, the Amorites, were pressing in from the west, and the kingdom of Elam was a growing threat from the east. The air would have been thick with uncertainty, the final echoes of a golden age. Ibisin's empire was fracturing, a poignant reminder that even the mightiest can fall. Now, let's travel west to the land of the Nile. Egypt in 2063 BC was a place of relative stability and prosperity, nestled within what we call the Middle Kingdom. The 11th dynasty was in power, and the pharaoh ruling from Thebes was likely Mentuhotep IV. This was an era of reunification after a period of chaos. The pharaoh was seen as a divine shepherd, responsible for maintaining the cosmic order of truth, balance, and justice. Imagine sailing down the Nile. You'd see grand temples being constructed, not quite on the scale of the great pyramids of the Old Kingdom, but still impressive. Craftsmen would be creating exquisite jewelry from gold and lapis lazuli, while sculptors carved statues with a newfound realism and sensitivity. For the common Egyptian, life was tied to the annual flood of the Nile, which brought fertile black silt to their farmlands. Their religious beliefs were rich and complex, centered on a pantheon of gods like Ra, Osiris, and Isis, and a profound belief in the afterlife. They weren't just building for today, they were building for eternity. Let's shift our focus eastward to the vast and mysterious Indus Valley, in what is now Pakistan and northwest India. Here, the Harappan civilization was at its absolute peak. Cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were marvels of urban planning, larger and more organized than almost anywhere else in the world at the time. Picture streets laid out in a perfect grid, sophisticated drainage and sewer systems, and multi-story houses made of uniform baked bricks. It's mind-boggling to think about. What's fascinating about the Indus Valley people is what we don't know. We haven't deciphered their script, a beautiful system of symbols found on small stone seals. We found no grand palaces or temples, suggesting a more egalitarian society, perhaps governed by a council of priests or merchants rather than a single king. Their economy was thriving, with trade networks reaching as far as Mesopotamia. Artifacts like their distinctive seals have been found in the ruins of yore. They were a people of precision, peace, and immense mystery, a silent giant of the ancient world. Now, let's venture into Europe. The continent in 2063 BC was a very different place. A patchwork of diverse cultures in what we call the Bronze Age. There were no grand empires like in Egypt or Mesopotamia. Instead, society was more tribal and localized. In Britain, the final stages of constructing Stonehenge were likely underway. Imagine the sheer human effort and social organization required to move those massive sarcens and bluestones into place, using nothing but ropes, rollers, and brute strength. This wasn't just a building project. It was a generational commitment, likely tied to astronomical observations and deep spiritual beliefs about the sun, moon, and the cycle of life and death. Across the Aegean Sea, the Cycladic culture was flourishing in the Greek islands. These people were skilled seafarers and artists, famous for their sleek, minimalist marble figurines. These enigmatic statues, with their simple lines and serene expressions, continue to inspire artists today. Meanwhile, on the island of Crete, the foundations of the great Minoan civilization were being laid. The first of their famous palaces, like the one at Knossos, were beginning to rise, hinting at the sophisticated and vibrant culture that would soon dominate the Mediterranean. What about the Americas and China? In the Americas, people were living in smaller, often nomadic or semi-settled groups. The shift towards agriculture was happening, with communities cultivating maize, beans, and squash. But the great civilizations of the Olmec, Maya, and Inca were still centuries, even millennia, in the future. It was a continent of rich, diverse cultures living in close harmony with the land. In China, this period corresponds to the mythical Xia dynasty, while direct archaeological proof for the Xia is still debated. Stories passed down through generations speak of great kings like Yu the Great, who tamed the floods of the Yellow River. Archaeologically, we see the rise of the Erlital culture, which many scholars link to the Xia here. We find the beginnings of urbanism, bronze casting, and social stratification that would pave the way for the later Shang dynasty. It was the dawn of Chinese civilization, a story just beginning to be written. So, let's bring it all together. The world of 2063 BC was a world of incredible contrasts. In Mesopotamia, a great empire was crumbling. In Egypt, a unified kingdom was flourishing. In the Indus Valley, a mysterious and advanced civilization was at its zenith. In Europe, monumental stone structures were being raised to the heavens. It was a time of innovation, of faith, of conflict, and of connection. From the intricate cuneiform on a clay tablet in Ur to a meticulously planned street in Mohenjo-Daro, humanity was wrestling with the same big questions we do today. How do we organize ourselves? What is our place in the cosmos? And what will we leave behind? The year 2063 BC wasn't just a date in a textbook. It was a living, breathing world full of people with hopes, fears, and dreams, just like us. Their legacy is written in stone, in clay, and in our very DNA. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey back in time. I hope it gave you a new perspective on our shared human story. If you enjoyed this trip, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Let me know in the comments which ancient time period you'd like to visit next. Until then, stay curious,